Alright, let's go. Oh, let's get that coffee going. And them gaming news. Oh, let's go. Sunny today. Sunny. Whoop. And whoop. Alright. So let's go. The non-cringe German content creators. Damn son, well, you mean like from Germany or who speak German though? Alright, 1 second. There we go. Make content in German language. I think it's just a phenomenon, you know. When just people don't really, when people cringe from content creators in their own language. I think that happens probably pretty much for everyone once in a while. For many people. Alright, let's get the water and stuff going. It's kind of the same as I also like, watching. As soon as I started watching the international, the English-speaking content creators, I never return to our Russian ones really. I don't really think it's cringe. It's just the tastes changed. That's it. Then there is plenty of cringe in English-speaking content creators sphere too. And I think, making the cringe stuff is basically what, gets you somewhere nowadays on the platform, I would say. Copy the English trends? Ooh, brother. Not really, not really. The shit is way more dank. Have you seen a lot of content creators, cutting their own finger for dono? Or role playing at the funerals while gathering money for the guy laying in the coffin behind, like the shit is way more dank, I would tell you. It got so dank that they are actually like looking into regulations in the trash streaming sphere. No, I don't watch any. That's the thing. That's the stuff you hear about in the news. So now there's gonna be laws even regulating that stuff, and it's a whole genre of the trash streaming now. So yeah, I think they stopped copying the trends. They're making their own, the trash trends now. But I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff is just the rip-offs always. Something gets popular, it gets copied. Content creators fighting each other gets popular. Well, every community by the language or by the country starts doing the same stuff. I see, buddy. All right. That kind of stuff. I forgot to bring the camera. Yeah, guy. Oh, that kind of stuff, even. Well, I mean, the constant drama is how you stay relevant and everything. That's how it works in any language. That's how people stay relevant and boost themselves. That's the easy way to do networking. Because the good way to do networking is actually requiring you know, to have good relationships with people and be a decent human being. That's more time and energy consuming than just starting some drama. But the effect is kind of the same almost, so you go the path of least resistance. There we go. There's nothing good. It's just hard to find. Everything that's popular is on the surface is gonna be the same as like, watching the popular and the top streams on Twitch, for example, Yeah, the Thunder and that too. Like if you're taking some niche that is kind of more interesting, comfy and everything, uh, like, well, any niche basically, you just like try to expand the audience, and that's where you go English most of the time. But it also depends, though. It also depends. You just need to find, and it's hard. That's the hard part, because everything that is on the surface, because there's no algorithms or anything, everything that is on the surface is probably not what you like then. But yeah, I don't even like. No, there are some like decent like here's some minded magic streamers here, I think. Like the Russian speaking ones and everything. There are some good stuff there for sure. There are some decent ones in general. Like I met some at TwitchCon. Haven't watched them. That's the funny part. But I met some of them there. And it was real cool people. Like we love games I met there. We're taking the same flight back home. And he's also actually an avid Elo viewer, or was at least back then for sure. Sure about now, but at least then he was. Same as like with Black Silver Rufa, for example, and his wife. They both watch Elo for years. And she is actually also like following me, and she usually is in my chat when I do IRL streams or something. That's when she's here. But not sure also. I haven't seen them in a while. So not sure. Maybe some stuff also changed with all the Fiesta going on. But Willow Games was really nice. And he had like there was some like CS content creator. I don't know like any, to be honest, and especially at CS. I was like a huge guy. He's like taller than me, wider than me. He's like huge. And they like both pretty, big on the platform and stuff too. And he said his name, but like I don't remember, and like it was a nickname anyway, not the channel name. And they were pretty chill, especially for like the big content creators and everything. I was like derp. They just like were calling me, so I kind of like go through the registration with them. So we would just take 3 seats together, and I already was standing like in another line when I was like the last person there, and they were like calling for me. I didn't get it. I'm like I'm good already here. Like there's only one person left. I'll just finish this line, and then I like was like, oh shit, they were inviting me so we can sit together. VP good dude. Yeah, they were pretty nice. But yeah, I think it's also not really streamers, it's just like the language and stuff. Kind of weird to perceive, at least for me. After watching the English speaking streams for a while and streaming myself in English and just kind of like don't really understand that. Feels kind of weird now. I'm gonna clean the grinder. Like the dub movies, yeah. There's a lot of people here, for example, that constantly like mold about, you know, the lack of dub in games and stuff. So yeah, that's probably pretty much kind of the same stuff. And some people do like it that way. And no German content. Well, I mean, as I said, we're pretty sure you just need to probably find something. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. But finding something is kind of tricky and hard, so yeah. Yeah, a lot of people who kind of like already know what they're doing, they probably switch to English and stuff in general. Like I think CB is doing even like less of his German language streams nowadays. I feel, at least from what I see in the schedule. Like he started with like few a week, I think, right? And now I see kind of like maybe like one or two. There's Antrax also doing English streams. Mostly because CSGO. Wait, how so? How is that connected? And Germans don't watch CSGO. And sometimes switching languages is also kinda not the best. There is oh man, what was his name? What was his name? Like out of my head completely. It's like the Hungarian streamer who was hanging out with at TwitchCon, also as viewer. He decided to switch also to English. And then after some time he went back. Because doing such switches, usually drastic changes is not very good for your channel. And restarting is starting something new with doing some big changes, like big time slot change, language change, you know, like if you like some particular game streamer switching completely to something else, like drastic changes is pretty much almost kind of like restarting your channel completely. And nowadays, starting something on Twitch or somewhere else is totally not something I would recommend trying it to anyone. This is like YouTube. On YouTube, you still get your chance. YouTube is better in that sense, but not for streaming though. YouTube for streaming is atrocious. And that I can already tell with the experience and knowledge from the streamer perspective. Perfect tech-wise and atrocious from the perspective of gaining any exposure and stuff. Unless you already do good, which is the same thing as on Twitch really, so absolutely no difference, but Twitch has more audience and better tools to work with the audience. I watch mostly DGen stuff. Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of like, you know, the survivor bias pretty much. You kind of think that it's Germans, but it's not. It's like any language of content gonna be mostly watching just DGen and Amiga dumb stuff. And mostly. It's just like when you talk about like English, for example, you have the population that big. Like you have way more represented channels, so like you can like you can see the channel that is not DGen and not dumb stuff, right? And it will be quite big because there's just way more audience, and you see way more channels like that too. But if you look in percentage, it most likely gonna be the same. I see the title, alright. The Insane Weird Champions, yeah, that does sound kinda quite the content there. That's quite the content. I mean, that's the kind of content nowadays that you can actually, get somewhere though. You need to come up with something like a really, weird, quirky, super funny, original that can go viral basically. And then your hope is to kind of like, to maintain that shtick long enough. Like Kid Voge, for example, right? The one who is scamming the scammers, right? And just making the content out of like the phone scams and stuff and like internet, whatever, different kind of scams. Like he got that shtick going and he's still, keeping it going for a while. And there's still, people interested in everything. But I would say it's kind of like with some themes and everything, it's hard to keep it going long. And switching to someone else, as I said, nowadays is well, it always was painful, but nowadays I feel it's even more painful. Like changing like little thing, very little thing can already affect many. Way too many. Like there's so many variables all the time. Like even like on my channel's experience, I can easily tell. Like some little thing might happen, and already things are going completely different. Yeah, exactly, Tandril. That's the thing, and that's the thing. Like if you just gonna go be, just the video game content streamer is really hard nowadays. Just because there's plenty of that. So you need to have something unique. Like something a little different. Like for me, it's just the obsession, for example, with games and stuff, right? And doing all these like the news segments and everything, what people like, and like the news recaps and stuff like this. But it's still really like tight niche, so still ain't something crazy. I see, buddy. I see. Yeah, that kind of content I don't really like in general. That direction and content, I would say. Not a big fan, but how there is demand, is gonna be the thing. And I mean, again, they kind of like got something that people want, and they got still somewhat unique on the platform, I guess. I don't know how long it will stay like that. I think there's already plenty of different news, debate, and other people all over the place. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. The cool I mean. From 2014. Well, people always like that. The arguments are super super easy to farm. Like if viewer gets a chance, or like chat or whatever, gets a chance to shit on something, that is always a content that is going. And that's why a lot of like banter streams and everything are popular and everything, because you know people just like to get a chance to meme on the streamer, to shit on the streamer, feel a little better about themselves. But they were talking shit to the millionaire there. Yeah, in chats that do the debates, it's even easier, right? Because it's not just the streamer. You can like already start shitting on each other right in chat. So when like if the regular streamers try to bait that kind of content, they just kind of like take all the fire on themselves, right? And go against the chat and everything and take all the like memes and stuff. And then in this type of content, you kind of have some people in chat already at war with each other, and you just kind of like need to kind of like, you know, fuel the argument. That's it. Same with Rama, yeah. All right, let's go. Oh man, forgot about that stuff. Let me see. Does it work now? Hope it's fixed already. Yeah, the VPN was prepared today in the morning. All right, works good. Lucky, or actually maybe not yet. 1 second. And it'll be annoying. Okay, next gen, the hello. How we doing? Yeah, I think it might be actually PP, yeah, still. I need some feed or something also for that kind of stuff then, to make it's easier for me to get it there. Because you know, PC I kind of have like alternative when VPN is VPN gap. I didn't set something up like this here. Alright, let's do it differently then. Now we do it differently. Alright, let's go get him here. Alright, let's go this way. No, actually, that will do. I'm gonna get the alternative stuff for that. Alright, this category should be good. Alright, I use it a bit differently today then. How's going next gen? How's life? The criticism forced Blizzard to change the rules. It's like a race to a world first or something. You need to get the 100 levels in hardcore mode as fast as possible with permadeath. First 1,000 winners will get the special title. And their name's gonna be on the statue of Lilith in the main office of Blizzard. And nowadays, I guess being commemorated in the main office of Blizzard is not that appealing. Yes, next gen, I see. Sounds good, man. Sounds good, huh? See, they basically changed the rules, kind of in a weird way too. Everyone who played in pre-release version in May can't participate in the event anymore. That is also a weird way to do it, to be honest. Ah, so the Thunder, let's see. Chulin, sounds good, sounds good, huh? Planning to include it in the first season. That would be... Oh, they did actually change it. So everyone who played pre-release version in May, well, it goes more towards journalists and stuff, though. Like not the test, I think. I think test doesn't count. It's the version for reviews and everything, right? But I mean, some of the reviews and I guess maybe some streamers and YouTubers got that version probably, right? And you know, some of them who play ARPGs maybe as dedicated to go for that race, and they kind of just like, you know, out just because they got the pre-release version. Well, I mean, I think it's not just the journalists. I think it's kind of like, you know, well, people started molding that people who got the pre-release version will be able to get, you know, to get a head start, basically. Some people already finished the game and everything, so it gives some advantage to them, you know. I mean, I also not sure how like the hardcore permadeath is it like, you know, the no trading one, for example, because maybe some people manage to like farm something and they can just use that in their like hardcore, you know. I would assume it's not allowed though, I guess. Yes, they, yeah, I'm not sure how that, how, what do they think about that? Maybe they will remove that too or something. I don't know. Kind of doubt it though. I doubt it. Of that, I doubt it. You knew a message from Xbox. People saw the hints for Psychonauts 3. People don't believe that the development already started. The ex-author of the ex Dice like how even like it is like author basically, I guess. I don't know, like designer probably told about the reasons of Battlefield 2042 launch fail. Apparently the game was changing multiple concepts through the development, but the release date did not change in the same time. Bandai Namco showed Brian Fury in the fresh gameplay trailer of Taken 8. Creators were not happy with the early leak of the hero, the character. PlayStation and Nintendo might be preparing a new presentations of games in this year. Yeah, there's like this like gigacopium that yeah, PlayStation was holding itself back. That's why the presentation was so weak. They just decided not to shock us with all the epic, you know, announcements. Now, which one is that, Steve? Which one? I mean, I would assume they should have like more stuff. Like there was no shows for a while, right? Like they should have some shit in the works that is like actually like big pog, eh? But maybe it's too early or something. People consider State of Play weak. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, most of the stuff we saw in the State of Play was either something we already saw before or like that we already knew before, right? Like Spider-Man 2, like everyone knows it is happening, right? Final Fantasy, there's already like a bunch of information about it. Everyone knows when it's happening, even and it's very soon too, right? What else was there like out of the big stuff? Pretty much it. Like all the new announcements they did were like live service, live service, live service, live service. So people weren't very happy with that. Like, another Payday, another Tarkov. Yeah, basically what tells about how dank the show was, like the most popular trailer through the whole show after that on YouTube in the first like 24 something hours, right? Like what people were watching after the show was the Bungie one, the marathon. That was the most hyped like video from the whole show, and that's just another live service extraction shooter. So like it wasn't like it wasn't weak, but it wasn't strong. Let's put it that way. Yeah, innovation this year, not gonna expect any of that. Like to be honest, like at least Warhammer Showcase was also kind of weak, right? But like at least they showed one new single player or like kind of like one new strategy IP there. Massive layoffs all around. Well, it's Sony, it's not like some random company. You kind of need to kind of like you have a platform to uphold. That's the thing. Like the thing is like layoffs, like crunch, all that stuff, right? It's all bad and everything, but for the person who bought $500 or something, console, right? And who is buying $80 games, they like don't care why there is no games, why the game is late, why the game is bugged. They just like care about we paid money, we got a bad product, or we didn't get a product whatsoever. That's the only thing that people care. That's all people care. It's sad, but it's true. Same as like many times already we were talking about like indie developers like, oh, it's just made by one person. Well, I mean, if it's not good, then how many people made it and how long it took doesn't really matter. If it's good and it's made by one person, that's good. If it's bad and made by one person, well, that's not the redeeming quality whatsoever. So it's kind of like, it is what it is, sadly. Like you kind of take all the stuff from this perspective, like, bad things happening and stuff, you are a consumer of the product, you want the product to be there and to be good. So, and the thing is like again, they showed a lot of stuff, right? They showed a lot of new stuff, but it's like live service galore. That's the main problem probably that people saw. Like there was literally no new IPs pretty much outside of live service stuff, right? Like some things that usually nowadays come out and then in half a year they just die. Like Super People, right, came out, 100 something thousand players on Steam, 300,000 I think people watching on Twitch, right? Few months passes, game closing the servers down. That's like the life of the live service nowadays. You're right, like the hype wave when all the streamers are playing and all the players are playing, and then it just kind of like goes down. Let's see, Steve, I see. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much like I don't think it was weak. It was good, solid, but it wasn't like I was expecting it will be more because I thought it will be like they haven't showed it stuff for so long. We're gonna see like some like exclusives, big IP. That's what like Sony usually does, right? They like go in and then it's like like the orchestra starting rolling in and there's like boom, fucking God of War, Pog. And here you get like, well, is the stuff you already saw, guys? Like, watch it again. Or like, we have a date now. Or, I mean, Final Fantasy, everything was already known. So here's like, half of the story and half of the bosses in this trailer. Watch, you know. Yeah, and like The Last of Us has like issues now, right? Like the multiplayer one is getting like completely redone again, right? And they making another single player one. So there's like a lot of things in the making. But the making process now is like people say in AAA studios is like 7 years basically or something. Like in one generation of consoles, it's like studio can make like one game, start to finish basically. That's like the life cycle now. And yeah, it's just like takes forever now to make things, and that's why there's like nothing. That's why the acquisitions and stuff, I guess, are happening because they try to uh, not use their like power, like their big experience studios to pump more games. They just try to get more studios. And yeah, and remake galore and everything too, of course, right? Like that's what we're gonna get all this year, basically, I think. Like I'm not saying that, it's like L for Sony and W for anyone else. Like we haven't seen it yet, but I have a feeling that like Xbox is gonna have the same shit. Summer Game Fest is gonna have the same shit. We're gonna see more remasters. We're gonna see more live service games. We're gonna see more, like Assassin's Creed 86 and stuff. Like all these like established franchises, established games being copied by someone, established games being remade by someone. So that's what we're gonna see all year probably. Because Ubisoft already plain said that that's what's gonna do. They're gonna focus on their like safe picks pretty much, and I think some other studios already also said the same. So everyone just gonna be playing it super safe, but like by super safe, quite often they just mean like just make like the same boring stuff again. And I don't know how long it will roll. How long will it work? And especially if all the studios everywhere will start just pumping those like safe picks, then people just gonna get bored. Like, what's the point? Another live service, another like co-op shooter, another extraction shooter. Like, dude, there's like 5 on the market right now. Why would I play this one over like that one? Well, that's the hope next gen though. That's the hope. Like, there was already like the 80s, I think, the market crash, right, when they got like too greedy with their stuff, and it just kind of like crushed there completely. Maybe we'll get to something like that eventually. Like I think there needs to be like like the bucket of cold water now in the face of some people, because it's just like it's too safe. Like everyone, it's not even like that. With other games, they wouldn't get the profits. It's just that they don't like those profits. Like why would I have like a few million in profit? I want billions in profit, dude. Like look at Call of Duty or something. And then by getting those extra super giga profits, right, they reinvest them, but they reinvest them already kind of like, you got a billion, for example. And yeah, sure, you could like look for like the odds and everything, do a research, find like some, I don't know, like house, for example, mansion to buy, like some in a nice place, like cheaper, but you would need to like dig through it for a while, and you have like a billion and stuff. You just kind of like, oh, I like this one, like boom. And let's go with development too. They got like super profits, they convert into super spending next time. And that raises the plank for the next release, because those super profits now already, not that super because we spend that much. So now we need even more. And it's just like this like greed cycle that's always going higher and higher. Struggle with the profit model. I mean, yeah, it is not simple to monetize stuff whatsoever. There's a lot of struggling for many. Like the thing is like small studios, like super small studios, they're kind of okay because it's usually just a few people who are kind of enthusiastic and stuff, right? And they just kind of like they can live together like in some garage and stuff, right? And work like this. But as soon as you get to kind of like 10 people studio or something, right? You already most likely have people who kind of don't really give a shit about your ambitions and your like studio name and stuff. They just come in to do some work and to get paid for it, right? And that's when it starts, because the longer the development goes, the salary starts stacking, and depending on where you live, right, and everything, and on demands of the people in that country, the more it starts, piling on. And then you can't really just like let's redo this stuff and throw away like you throw away like years of like development and stuff, and you literally just throw away a bunch of like money that was spent on those salaries and everything, and it just becomes hard. You see the thunder. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. And that's pretty much how it is. As soon as you get like the team to like be stable and pump out, you know, like the content updates and everything, you just kind of get this like situation when you need to pay for that team, and team doesn't care. Like if it's like you and your friend, you making the game your passion project and stuff, and you don't mind, you know, like eating some ramen for a while, for example, or you know, as long as you kind of like stay on the surface, right? As long as money is enough to pay bills and stuff, you happy already. But when it's like, you know, people from the side involved who you pay like salaries and contract money for, then it's already not gonna roll because they don't really care about your passion project. They don't want to stay, you know, barely afloat. They want to kind of earn money and, you know, get the salary and do whatever they want. And the Starship Troopers game, yeah, I heard that one is good, huh? I heard that one is good, huh? A System Shock tomorrow already. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I requested. We'll see. We'll see if I'll get it. The money and managing finances, yeah. And like there's like insane marketing budgets nowadays. Like there was from I think from Microsoft Sony argument, right, about the acquisition. There was like the papers that got published, right, without the names of the projects, but with the budgets there. And there was like some, I think it was Microsoft project, right? They disclosed. That was at PlayStation, I don't remember. There was like one project with 500 million on marketing. It's just marketing alone, 500 million. Like imagine like how much you need to get that back. Like what is it even? I don't even know. And then you obviously want to make all that back, and 500 million is already, you know, chunky, is massive. Like some game sells million copies, that's like good, and then it costs like $70, for example, right? And 30% is like, you know, marketplaces take, and taxes take a bunch, and you are not even making this 500 still. Like you make 50, not 500. You need to sell 10 million to get there, basically, or even more. And 10 million copies and more is already like, you know, kind of rare amount of games gets there. Like Metro Exodus, for example, only sold 8.5 million until now, and that's already when it was on sale, you know, like, well, I don't know, like 60, maybe 70% discounts at this point, probably. And they still didn't make it to 10 million, for example. Like, dude, what do you, how do you expect they're gonna make it back? That's gonna be some like insane monetization. I mean, game take years, yeah. That's why I like this like concept of like doing some fast, small little things because it's kind of nice, I feel. Because at least you're not gonna probably make much anyway, but at least you kind of get an idea how things work. But then again, you need to survive while you're still making that, and that's also not super feasible. Yeah, it is really higher end of things. They didn't disclose what kind of franchise or game that wasn't that they were investing 500 million in marketing. It was like kind of redacted out basically, right? But it is a thing. It probably was like something, I don't know, maybe like Halo. If it was Halo, then you know we know how it all went over in the end, and they probably didn't make that back whatsoever. Or I don't know, maybe it's already like they pumping that much in Starfield. I just don't even know where you even put this 500 mil. Like I don't see that. Like do you see that like well, I mean, probably most of you like me don't watch TV, right? So like I guess you can't really judge if there's odds or anything, but I've never seen any odds here, even before like the war and stuff, right? Like I haven't seen any of this marketing effect here. Like they come to convention, for example, right? Sure, like for 3 days a year, they come to convention, they set up a booth here and stuff, right? But that's pretty much it, and it's not that much money, really. It doesn't cost that much. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That just means there's going to be not just merch and stuff. There's going to be microtransactions and other fun stuff, and DLCs and season passes, battle passes, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I just kind of like don't even know where you put all that money. Like maybe in the US there's like gaming odds all over the place, but yeah, I haven't really seen that. Like the peak odds, like IRL, I saw only like when it's like during TwitchCon, I think Bloodhunt had like one tram in Amsterdam, or maybe a couple, maybe even in their livery, right? In their odds basically covered. And here and there, some things like that. Like in Asia, they do that a lot for like gacha games and stuff, right? Like Genshin and everything had like some trains like painted and stuff like this, right? And to be honest, like MiHoYo for like Honkai Star Rail release, they just like brought some shit here even. Like we had some like event in Moscow. I learned about it too late already, so I like couldn't really plan going there. I mean, there was nothing special, just like a bunch of cosplayers, like the booth and stuff, and you like take a photo to the social media and get like some free shit a little bit. But at least, you know, that's something like you can see there is some marketing going on there. And the rest of all these like huge projects and stuff with all these budgets, I don't even know like where does that go? Have got a war and tons of buses in London. Maybe, yeah, maybe like in some countries that are like considered the main markets in some like cities, I guess maybe they do something like that. I'm not sure if it's like that effective, to be honest. Like in my opinion, currently the main marketing channel for like pretty much any game should be content creators. Like look at like what Apex did, for example, right? You just like get like a bunch of people, pretty much all the people who play the genre and people who don't even play the genre. You just pay them enough to play your game for long enough time, and there you go. You got like a new leader in the market basically. That's I think effective way to do it. Putting like odds on some like buses and trains and paying like government probably a whole bunch of money. I don't think it's that good. How effective is marketing? Yeah, it's hard to like um, compare, I guess. Like I don't know. Like in my opinion, like people who like I don't think gaming got to that stage where people are like that into this kind of marketing. Honestly, personally, I think so. I don't know. Like like you see something like right and then go on the Wasp. Don't go here. Get out. Don't look at those windows. Don't want to get you out a year later. Like you see like some new drink or something, right? And you're like, oh, I would try that because it's like $1 or something, right? And it's in every like grocery store. You just go and like and try it and like it's good or it's bad, whatever. But like the game is already something like kind of niche, right? It's like it should be someone who has the platform, has the device to play that game, someone who has like interest in the new game, especially when they cost that much, right? Nowadays too. I just don't feel like games are such a like impulsive thing, really. Like anyone who's more or less interested in the games, they usually like the type of marketing. Like I remember even from back in the day when I was a kid, like for me when there was no like internet pretty much yet, right? When there was no like YouTube reviews, no Twitch and stuff, right? You just like buy the magazine, you just like read through the magazine, read some reviews, see what's kind of looking interesting, and then you go and get that. If you didn't find anything, you go to the store and you like what's like new and cool nowadays, and they're gonna show you like there's this, there's that. You like pick the disc, like read the description, watch like the screenshots, and like that looks kind of nice. I'll take this one. That's kind of how it was. Like it's not you like see something on the outside. Oh shit, that looks pog. I'm gonna go to the store and buy it now. And nowadays with internet, it's even less likely, in my opinion. Like I mean, there are like household names, right? Call of Duty, why that's so successful, right? Like FIFA and stuff like this. Like it's what people already know, what people most likely already bought because it's out every year. And then maybe they see it. Oh, new one is out. All right, I'm gonna go buy that one. But if it's like something completely random and new, like I don't think you just like see an ad on like the billboard and you like getting suddenly interested, or at least you kind of like see it and you're still probably gonna go check with like some YouTubers and stuff, right? Like what is this even? But at least you're gonna go and check. So maybe it kind of works for like brand recognition or something. That's the thing actually. Like it does work. Like it worked with Apex, for example. Like they got Kripparrian to play Apex. Like I watched like clips from his stream when he does that. like when he was pulled from, you know, playing Hearthstone and everything to play BR game, and his PC wasn't able to handle it. There was like the shit frames, the lag, the bitrate was garbo. Like it was a shit fest. But that's how Apex actually made it. They got like all the streamers who play that genre in those games, and then on top of that, they got a bunch of like random new streamers also. And the only reason for that was just to create this, like, you know, the avalanche pretty much. You just like propel your game, your category of the game to the top of the Twitch with all the streamers there. That starts pulling all the viewers in there, and then more streamers start joining because, oh shit, that's where everyone is, right? I'm also gonna go join there. And then you maintain it for a few days, and it just kind of like keeps rolling, you know, because like someone got paid to play the game, then they kind of enjoy the game, and then they see that the numbers are kind of good too, and they just like keep playing, you know, why not? Making a good game is still the best marketing. That's already hard nowadays. Like just making a good game is already very hard. Like there's a lot of games that like are really hard to take off until they get covered by some content creator, basically. And even content creators, like you might be kind of looking into games that are out and you still can miss some stuff, for example, easily. Like I get like stuff sent to me from developers, right? I kind of check it out and I'm like, that looks good. I haven't heard about it whatsoever until they send me an email, right? Like I haven't seen it on Steam. I haven't seen it somewhere else, you know, I haven't seen anyone talking about it. It's just kind of like, boom, dropped. All right, looks good. I'll play. 10K gets you like an hour or two with the streamers that get high numbers. 30K, how much did Pokelol said? Watching a trailers of some new show for 2 minutes that was 30,000. So, you know, for 10K, that's probably not that much. You basically calculate $1 per viewer per hour watched. So if it's 2 hours for like 10,000 people, that's gonna be at least 20,000. At least. If your budget is 500 mil, that would be the rational thing to do. I mean, I don't remember. There were rumors back then that Apex paid like Ninja like some like ridiculous amount of money just to play it for a few hours because back then he was like the top streamer and top Battle Royale streamer with Fortnite, right? Did it work for them? Hard to say, but like all this like total like, you know, push through all the streamers possible to play that game, that did work. Apex became like one of the main BR games now. I thought like Warzone will be. Nope. Fortnite kind of like still there, but already like lower a bit, and Apex kind of like, in my opinion, at least nowadays, I see like Apex like at least like in the top three for sure, but probably kind of like one, I would say. And yeah, they had the issues also with content on release, right? Like a lot of people who also joined all this wave, they kind of like started complaining and like switching back to like other BRs after some time because they kind of were like, well, shit, you know, there are issues, and they slowly updated, but like the momentum was still kind of rolling, and they got the game out there, and it still was like pumping even after kind of like a little shaky like months there. What a single person earns in 1 2 hours. Well, I mean, those are outliers though. Like if you get there 5,000 people and stuff, you just like 0.000, you know. Because I'm with my viewership, I am it's like 0.1% of Twitch pretty much. And you get 5,000 and it's just like, you know, like a very, very few people. It's kind of the same as like some, you know, celebrity or like where like some singer who got like one very patriotic song that got popular after all the events started and stuff, right? And like he just charges he just like one song, nothing else. They just like call him to sing that song to different events, just like go outside, sing this one fucking song, and he gets millions every time. Like you just go there for like 5 minutes pretty much, just sing one song and go out and get a few mil. You know, so it's kind of the same. You just become kind of this like celebrity of sorts. Hey Blakey. If anything, it's also kind of like it's also issue with the marketing in my opinion, and with having like 500 mil marketing budgets, right? Is that they do less research. They just like, all right, who's like the coolest, the biggest? Okay, this guy, like, let's go. When like the best stuff would be just like, to go through the research, see like who like whenever I kind of get like, email from like some developers, right, who like try to promote their game, like so I can play it. Whenever I see like, oh, we saw you play this and this, so we kind of assume you might like our game, I'm like, all right, that I'm checking because they did some research, they saw that I play something that is similar to what they are making, and that already kind of means that there's probably something that, similar that I played and that I enjoyed, so I'm gonna check it. And then there is sometimes like, there's like some mobile game against sponsorship and stuff. I didn't even open email. I like see, all right, some mobile game sponsorship, I don't even look, like I don't care. Even though I guess I play Honkai, right? Like, which is kind of half mobile, right? But like I see something like, kind of generically named mobile, I don't even care. Like I'm not interested. Even if they, maybe there is a lot of like agencies from here, for example, promoting games too. Like I see some like Pipiega name, that already like, again, like all these like, oh, what's the name? Like, like the Clash Royale Omega Rumble or something like this. I see something like this, I'm just, it's a skip already. We earn minimum wage on Twitch, you already top 5%. You're top 5% out of partners, and partners are already top like 1%. That's pretty much how it is. Like minimal wage is like even in the list that was leaked, right? When 10,000 like top earners on Twitch, like I think even out there, the minimal wage in US, right? Obviously, if we count like here or somewhere else, for example, it might be a different number, but like US minimal wage started from like top 3,000, I think, or something. Is 5% of streamers on Twitch actually dedicated to streaming? No, not really. I don't think so. Well, the thing is, like, if you take streamers as a whole, not just like partners, for example, then it's like very like washed out picture because like some person who just like goes live once just for funsies, maybe from their phone, like on a school lesson, they already kind of gonna count to total streamer numbers because Twitch gonna show in the statistics like, oh, we got plus 20%, streamers that are live on the platform and stuff like this. The hair and the microphone, I think it may be not the hair and microphone, it might be this thing. 1 second, is it again? Is it better now? It could be the keyboard, maybe the hair, hard to say. Could be just like battery dying or something. Could it be the battery dying, maybe? Not sure. It's usually the cable of the microphone there, sometimes going PP again. Good, now I see. Could be just I was standing some way that the cable was messing with itself, I guess. Kind of does. Still some interference? That could be battery then, maybe. No, battery is still kind of okay, though, I guess. Good now? Alright. The visibility are on the top 1%. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the problem of Twitch in general, and that's why also I guess like no one almost like does the research like in terms of like sponsorships and stuff. It is. 1 in 20 streamers earn enough to quit their job? No, not really. Not really. Again, it really depends on, like as I said, like my numbers were back in the day. Back in the day, it was a bit better. Like I would say, like the last year and everything with all the Fiesta kind of took a bit of a toll, I guess, also. And I'm not sure, maybe they like changing something that kind of like takes a little bit of a beating, right, for the channel and everything. But like back, like few years back, it was like top 0.1% for me. And I mean, you can see there, exactly there, how much it is pretty much. That's all you get. If I would be still getting money from Twitch directly, that would actually be even less because Twitch takes the half. Like before the shit fest kind of started happening, right? And payment got off, I was getting like 300 sometimes from Twitch per month already. And our revenue is like 5% out of everything. So like losing ad revenue right now for me, for example, like doesn't really change the picture, the grand picture of things. And that's 0.1% already was. So it is way less. It is way less. And even this, like, to be honest, like, people who actually work somewhere and everything, and they, like, let's say someone would have like a family, especially, right? Or if they would have some like loans or something to pay, or even if they rent an apartment, that already wouldn't be enough, even here. If you go to like some bumfuck nowhere, maybe you can find something to rent for like $200 and then like kind of live for $200. But again, you'll be alone and everything with no loans, nothing. So yeah, I would say the ratio is way different. It's always kind of funny for me to like when I like go to like some live stream fails or something and people are like, oh man, I'm so like baffled, like how much there was like what was the thing like recently I saw also there. Uh oh yeah, I think it was like some dude had like some car or like a bike or something, and dude is like normally like 100 viewers or something, and people are like, man, I'm so like shocked how much these streamer guys are like making, even like having like 100 viewers, they make so much. Like, bro, he's not like streaming full time. It's not his like main thing. Like the bike was way before streaming, and the person just works full time somewhere else in the proper Western country. They can buy that bike already on that. Streams on 5G right now in rural Hungary, dude, man, that would be nice. I would love to. I'm gonna get internet in the Bombfox. Well, it's RNG here. Like I read that today there was an article of a guy who lives in Oymyakon, which is I think it's not the most eastern city in Europe, Asia, and whatever on the continent. But I think like one of the northeastern. Like he has minus 75 in winter, for example, and in the village, and what's the name? He has the optic cable there, even though it still like splits later. So he gets like 5 megabits if he's lucky, and he pays for it way more than I pay here for 100, right? But it's still kind of there. Would be hard streaming, but at least you can function with that. Yeah, full-time streaming doesn't guarantee growth whatsoever. Like back in the day, remember like anyone when I was starting to watch Yella, when I was starting to mod, anyone going in chat like, yo, can you like give some advice for the streamer who is starting? Be consistent, bro. No one gives a shit about that anymore. Like that doesn't matter. As a person who tried to go like 250 300 hours a month, and the person who takes like sometimes like quite regularly 2 days off and does like 730 hours plus some YouTube bonus I do in the weekend, right? Like 40 hours per week basically, right? I do nowadays mostly, or when I was doing 300 per month. Zero difference in income, in viewers, zero. It's actually even worse in the viewers because you kind of out of your like prime time, right? Like my prime time basically when I usually stream, like 8:30 a.m., 4 p.m. until Ella goes live. This is where I'm like at the peak sort of. I get like over that, my average viewership instantly tanks because a lot of people already like my time is kind of over, right? So like new people not really coming, old people already going to watch other streamers, Ella and others, because I usually not live that time. And yeah, you just like tank average viewership. You earn kind of a little bit more maybe because sometimes it's like when I was like doing Ragnarok, I was like sleeping for 7 hours and then waking up, starting the streaming, then going to sleep again. This kind of grind. There were some people who just appreciate it, right? They're like, oh shit, I kind of finally got something to watch at night, so I'm gonna like throw a donor your way or something. So this way you kind of can get a little more just because of community. Well, I mean, just because of community, I'm getting something, right? But yeah, it doesn't matter whatsoever. Like how much you put, how much consistency you have. I have schedule like changing every week, right? I have schedule. I try to do stuff according to schedule more or less. Obviously, with some deviations, but you at least know what I play every time and everything, right? You can put all the effort you want into that. That is not your like selling point whatsoever anymore. No one cares. Well, people who already watch, they care, right? They appreciate that. But someone like from the street, they're not gonna find you just because you're consistent and you like have a schedule and stuff. They're not gonna find you that way. Like back then, yeah, you just like grind and you will get there. Nowadays, it's worse and worse. And CB plays Bloodborne, gets 10 times more viewers when he doesn't. Yeah. And smaller streamers grind times when Ellie is not online. Yeah, that was always my thing. That's why I was always like doing like Saturdays, trying to do a longer streams and more because Ella wasn't live and stuff. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. You kind of take someone's spot, sort of that way. Like I was always Ella's daycare. That was how it was. Then Twitch started nerfing auto host, right? And it works like shit nowadays. And then like Trism moved also in the morning segment, and then I kind of like out of the loop, right? I'm not going to conventions and stuff anymore. I can't, right? I'm kind of like I lost the orbit now. I went on my own, my planet is out. Like I'm like my asteroid is out of the belt, I'm drifting somewhere already. So like you lose relevancy completely, and that's it. But yeah, Zach Magda, you have a point there for sure. That's the difference between like that's why YouTube, in my opinion, is even like better, way better to make content and stuff because you just like make it more concentrated, you make it smaller, and people easier to find your stuff because algorithm and because it's small. Yeah, streams are dedication. Like if someone's streaming for 8 hours, there is a lot of like downtime. Even like I'm making coffee, right? Like the process is like 30 minutes. Like if I would be like cutting it for the YouTube video, that you can cut it in like a minute or less probably. Yeah, candidate Unreal, diminishing returns there. True, that is true. She streams 13 hours when Ella has a day off. I did the same. I did the same back in the day. And nowadays I also started noticing diminishing returns, but I still do sometimes. Like if I play something like I in general enjoy streaming long times, right? Like if it'll be like actually, direct correlation, like if I would be able to just like forget about it and just like stream like all day every day, I would do it gladly because I love doing that. But the thing is, you hit this like a wall, and then you kind of just like burn out and everything, and then you just kind of like you don't get any like it gets worse basically. Let's put it that way. If you would be able to like if I would be able to do like 10 12 hour streams per day and have like the same like numbers or maybe even growing numbers, like bro, sign me the fuck up gladly. I'll be getting paid to do such long streams and stuff, like some contract like with platform or something, bro. Gladly. Yeah, and content on YouTube stays too. That is also a thing. See, I see. That is always appreciated. That is always appreciated. Yeah, that's the thing. To take off nowadays, you need to network. Like if you don't, I mean, even my stream. Like if there would be like if Ella's viewers didn't ask me to start streaming, I wouldn't even do that. And when they did ask me to start streaming, and Ella also joined to help my stream and boost it, that's what made the channel. Without it, it wouldn't be a thing. Like I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Like I would be just like sitting away in a way deeper swamp on Twitch for sure. And you can also notice like as soon as I kind of fell off from like the circle. I mean, I could also join all the like the Dread Hungers and like the Amogus games back in the day, but yeah, I just don't really like, and I don't want to do that stuff just for the sake of like kind of like staying relevant and stuff. If I would be invited to play something that I would like playing, gladly. That I would love to. But it's like being a bit of a brand risk nowadays with all this shit and not being like anywhere on like conventions and stuff, kind of like context a bit got a bit rusty there, let's put it that way. And I don't like, like pushing that stuff myself, like asking someone to play something or something. I like doing my own thing. I kind of always had that, and I also like said many times I like watching streamers who do that too. Like they do their own thing. Like as soon as some like co-op starts or something, I just close the stream. I don't really watch streams nowadays in general. Since August last year, I kind of just like stopped, decided to switch, procrastinations to other channels. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's like something like this starts, I just kind of was closing the channel. I like doing my own thing, and I like watching people doing their own thing. That's kind of how I am. That's how I am. Didn't trigger some super long-term growth. I mean, I would say it did. Like Triz's channel took off like quite a lot. Like when he was doing a lot of things, and when he switched like his time frame, because he was usually before streaming in the evening too, right? When Ellie's live. And nowadays he more streams in the morning, so he has like more people who like know about him from the Ellis community and stuff, right? Sometimes Autohost is on him too, and yeah, I think it worked pretty good for him. Not maybe not as good as you would expect, like 10,000, like 5, 10,000 people channel boosting another channel, right? And probably like we would expect different numbers there, but yeah, that's how it is. It also is. It also is that it depends a lot. The thing is, like with Miss Mika and everything, is she's doing the content that people watch Ella for. Like if Teresa would be doing like speed runs in Dark Souls, like challenge runs and stuff like this, he would probably take off way more. CB does that, right? But CB does that at the same time LA streaming. So CB is already in the worst position that way, and he does like shorter streams and everything. So like the window is smaller, and like the kind of like the correlation of content is very important. That's why, for example, like boost for my channel was, in my opinion, that kind of good, because I was hanging out in Ella's community all the time, right? People saw me there all day, every day. I was on all the conventions with Ella and stuff, right? We were like doing all those shows together and stuff. So like a lot of people flocked in for the fact that I'm like Ella's friend, basically, right? And then a lot of them also kind of realize that content doesn't align. Like Ellie is like the god gamer, hardcore playthroughs, super high difficulty, and I just like, if I'm doing like some action game and stuff, I usually just like pick like normal, maybe hard, but rarely go like some super hard, like hardcore permadeath and stuff. Like, don't even like look at me with that stuff. And then I also like whip out some card game, right? And just like for a few hours, I just kind of disappear, just in the flow, just playing some card game or like some turn-based game or some strategy or something, right? And that just kind of like filters a whole bunch of the audience instantly, because they came in for some like, some action, some AAA goodness, some Dark Souls content, speed running, competitiveness. And I just kind of like, just like chilling there, like doing some like end turn type of content, basically. And more like talking rather than anything. So I like that. And I like when the channel, like, all I need is just, when the channel is alive and chat is alive, like that's my fuel. When I can talk and everything, it feels good. And the stream fatigue, a lot of people with streams, they just kind of like drown the problems. I can tell, even from my own experience back in the day, I can see that, like in my brother, with all this shit going on, like the stress is like immense nowadays, right? And I can see, like when we sit at the table at the family gathering, right? And he has just like a phone there with some stream playing while he's eating. Like, some people just watch that much, you know. So some people do. Having viewership that is kind of independent. That's what happens, like, I think, in past like years with my channel. The slow transition from like, kind of like more of a like my own thing going on, and it's hard. It is very hard, and that's what makes you kind of like also uncomfortable and like scared, because of uncertainty of this thing. There's a lot of too many levels of uncertainty going on, all over the place. So it's a bit stressful. But it is nice to do something that, like when it's already kind of more like you, when it's not because you have like a host on you or something, when it's not because you hang out with someone and they watch just because they might like get a glimpse of that streamer on your stream, or hear some story about that streamer on your stream, right, or something like that. Is nice, is nice. That's exactly like I say. Appreciate it, appreciate it. And the market share, sorta, sorta. That's why it is indeed nice to. Well, I mean, it's still there is still a lot of like mixing and matching there too going on. Being able to chat rather than spam emotes. I mean, chatting is my fuel. That's what I really like always. 100 people watching from the crowd and everything. Yeah, that's something that like sometimes people forget too, like how much you actually like affect like influencer. I don't like the word influencer because of the context that is attached to it, that you're influencing people to like buy something or do something. But I kind of more prefer it from the point that you kind of influence the people's life, mood, day. That's the influencer in my perception. And that's pretty much like almost everyone. Like some small audience already that is gathering there just to watch you and stuff. Like that's already great. The problem is you can't really, sustain yourself sometimes off of that. Hey Nick, hello. How are we doing? And that's completely fine also, like to be able to be like to sustain stuff. Let's see the thunder. Let's see. Might be Zach Mac, might be. Yeah, that might happen. That might happen. Yeah, the fun part with small streams, I always almost always was in. Well, I mean, I was active on the Nellis channel pretty much, like in chat especially, right? I was like lurking in many, but yeah, that was the only one where I was kind of active ever. Yeah, but yeah, I see the appeal. I see the appeal, in the small ones. Yeah, when you can have a chat and everything, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Nice, Nick, nice. The Lego Star Wars, Yeah, I heard that one is good, Oh, yeah, we had like a dream hack, right? We had the talk show that we were doing, and there was like a bunch of people actually like just like sitting there, right? And even from like from our community, right? Like from Alice, from my community, there was like it was like my community I consider too, because a lot of those people are still around, and they still here and they still subbed and everything too. And there was like 10 people or something, like a full table of people just sitting there watching us, just like from our stream pretty much. Not to mention even just the bunch of like random people who watch like other streamers who also were hanging out there basically. That was also quite interesting. That was also quite interesting. That kind of networking, like IRL networking and stuff, I would love doing. Like with people I kind of like, uh, connect with well. Which I mean, it's pretty much like a lot of people, but I need to connect with people IRL really. Like online, I just kind of like not a huge kind of like enjoyer of that stuff. Like IRL, yeah, IRL, sure, and it's pretty easy for me too. And then it's fun to do stuff IRL together. Because like with games, it's hard. I mean, with games, like everyone has their own like preferences. You have like different moods for the games, right? Like sometimes you want to play some like survival stuff, right? And there's like no one to play with. And sometimes they want to play survival stuff, but you want to play something else. Like with MMOs, right? When we're like with Triza, usually kind of go ham with like Ragnarok because at least we can align on that stuff, but still like we can like both go in, but then at some point like one of us can go out, like or like with the Ragnarok, I remember we were planning to go ham like in Ragnarok, then like to Final Fantasy, then a New World, and then after like Ragnarok 3 is already kind of like switched to something else because also like grinding MMO all the time also kind of affects your numbers and stuff usually. So he already kind of changed his plans and stuff, and it's like it's hard to do that stuff online, and I just don't even like. I don't like, nagging people, bothering people with stuff, trying to organize things when there's like not a lot of enthusiasm from the other side. So I just kind of like, all right, I'm just like, I'm just doing my stuff. IRL is better. IRL, at least you kind of like can just person to person just like talk and discuss that stuff and like let's go. Yeah, let's go. Fortnite like Zoomers do. I mean, Fortnite is alrighty, just not my genre really. But it was fun to play. We did an April's Fools. Don't see anything bad with that. Don't see anything bad with some Fortnite. Alright, let's wrap up with the news. Get back to a little bit more fadey there. Insiders saying about some upcoming news about Silent Hill games. Trailers of a few projects. It's gonna be soon. It's gonna be soon. See, like I say, the daycare so the kids stay out of your games. I mean, I don't really think so. I think they're still somewhere there. Like the Fortnite, um, the peak popularity probably was, you know, the peak when everyone was playing it, and then after that, it's kind of like it's switching audience all the time. I don't think there's a lot of people who just like exclusively play that. They still are in your games, trust me. It's just we have already a lot of enough people playing to create like, you know, the game with such huge amount of players, but in the same time, the same players play some other stuff too. Capcom released another video on Exoprimal. Damn son. Gonna be out in summer. Wonder how that will go. I wonder how that will go, huh? Yeah, same the Tundra. True. I agree. Can have kids in your game if it's single player. True. That is my jam. That is my way to do it. Developers of Like a Dragon Judgment are preparing the show about their new games, 16th of June, and that's gonna be at night, very ungodly times. So yeah, don't think I'm gonna be staying up to watch that, just for that. Dragon's Dogma 2 will be exclusively single player. Developers promising advanced graphics and AI. We'll see. I don't mind. I don't mind exclusively single player. Absolutely don't mind. Phantom Blade Zero will have a semi-open world and story campaign for 40 hours. Yeah, that we had yesterday in the weekly recap. 40 hours the main story, and it's not a Souls-like. Forza Horizon has already more than 30 million players. Damn son. Going ham there. Well, I mean, Game Pass and other stuff. It does magic, but still, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. Outlast Trials sold 500,000 copies in a week. I mean, that's not bad for... I wouldn't like say it's like completely super small indie, but I mean, quite small. And it's pretty good for that. Roots of Poacher is back to Steam with a new publisher. Seems like the conflict is over. I wonder in the end who was wrong and who was right, though. Yeah, right, and that we already saw yesterday, basically. So yeah, there was just like not that much going on after the weekend anyway. Getting some of the talks are not too bad. Yeah, what else? Something already refreshed. Optimus Prime from Transformers will be in Fortnite in June. Damn son. Nintendo explained the fight against emulators as a protection of their authors. They removed Dolphin from Steam there. Ooh. Journalists got split opinions on System Shock Remake. What is wrong there? Overall, all good, but there are some issues with the ideas that didn't age well. All right, so it's okay. Ignore that. Ignore that. We can safely ignore that probably. 73 points on Metacritic based on 30 reviews. That's probably solid. And just probably some PPGs that couldn't digest some of the old school mechanics there, I guess. Which I do agree, you know, that maybe it's not, you know, it didn't age well, but it is what it is. That's how it was back then. And I think that's something we should also kind of keep. How those games were back then. That's kind of like, you know, the slice of the era that we also need to have. Not just remaking everything and like, you know, adjusting it for the modern standards. Yeah, someone got 55 points, complained about the elements of the old games, the lack of hand holding. Imagine complaining about that. Increased difficulty in some moments, and the need to return to the previous areas. The fuck, bro? What is this? So basically, you know, I basically bought yogurt with apples, and it has yogurt and it has apples. Like, what the fuck, man? Can we remove yogurt and apples from this yogurt with apples? The original game is morally outdated, but the remake managed to preserve a lot of successful ideas and removed some archaic problems. One of the main problems was compatibility with gamepads. So the gamepad controls are kind of bad, seems like. I see. And nice, Nick, nice. Sounds good, huh? No, a lot of old games were pretty bad in that sense. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend it's not true. I'm just saying like it's what we want to achieve. In my opinion, we should, like, if we like just making the same game, but like for modern PCs, just don't even touch it. Like, leave it how it is. Bad ideas, some like issues with writing and stuff. Like, just it was considered, you know, classic. Leave it classic, you know, just so like new people, new generations can see the classic. It's kind of like you have, like, I don't know, like Dostoevsky, like Crime and Punishment, or some like other, like, you know, like books that are like old and like no one gonna understand the shit there probably nowadays, right? But it's like that's how it was. That's the classic, you know. That's how life was back then and everything. That's the language people used back then and everything, and that's the good part about it. Like, you want to play something new, you want to read something new. There's plenty of shit like that already. Like, go and do it. Like, why you try to make old stuff into the new stuff? Maybe make separate ones, right? Like, make the old one preserved and then make like a new restart of the series or something. I don't mind, sure. Go for it. Yes, don't like when it's like, you know, changing stuff that is already like exists. Like, let's go repaint Mona Lisa, you know. Like, put some like wape in her hands or something. Yeah, no, get some tattoos, paint the hair pink and stuff. That's like, no one dresses like this anymore, bro. Why are you like this on the painting? That's dumb, eh? Let the old things be there to remind us. Even the bad game design decisions are good to have because they remind about, you know, how bad it kind of was and the path we passed to make it even worse nowadays sometimes. But, you know, still, it's a piece of history. Need to always have access to that history, preferably without changing it too much. The restart is good though. Like, if you restart some series and change a lot of things, I'm okay with that. But like, you know, can we keep the old stuff too, please? It would be really nice. It would be very nice. Alright, camera. Kamera göze vidamim.